Today it is time for a viewer-submitted game of StarCraft 2. It's time for a Master League match of Terran versus Protoss. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map Simulacrum, playing with the blue SCVs, we're looking inside of the main base of Yalta. With that beautiful portrait spinning around on his main command center. I believe that's called the Secret Admirer, something like that. It's a weird portrait, but I kind of love it. His opponent, though, in the opposite corner. Apparently joined by Samwise right there on the main Nexus, playing with the red Protoss probes. This man changes his nickname pretty much every single game that I cast of his. We're looking at none other than Dexter's main base, but he also goes by the name of Florencio. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Florencio at this point. Florencio loves going for the weird builds. Now, I have seen this kind of build, though, a million times before. Going for the Forge first, sending out what seems to be two probes towards the other side of the map. A cannon rush. I think that this is one of the most classical timing attacks in StarCraft 2. Oftentimes, though, I can recommend not executing this against the Terran player, because Terran players can lift their structures. I know. They can't lift their engineering base like you could back in, like, you know, StarCraft 1. But other than that, I don't think that this is necessarily the best option to go for. Now, Yalta apparently has already decided that he was going to send out an SCV really early as well to block a Nexus that was going to go up in the natural. He must not be familiar with Florencio, though. I don't know if I've ever seen Florencio actually take his natural expansion. He always takes the ones in the opposite corner of where he spawned. Well, I mean, not his opponent's main base, but you know what I mean. Like, he always takes the ones that are a little bit further out. Anyways, a couple of photon cannons are coming up. Obviously, you can just lift up this structure and get on out of there with the barracks. There's already a bunker going up as well. The main thing right now that the Terran needs to do is prevent that high ground vision. So killing the probe right there is step number one. Now going after those pylons is going to be very helpful as well. Actually, just killing the pylon will be great. Hello, there you go. Yalta indeed does decide to take, at the very least, the step necessary to kill that thing. All right, please lift up the barracks. Good work so far. Nice little bit of micro. You can see right here, right? This is definitely a Master League game. The skill level, well, I mean, we don't have... Oh, my... No. Dude, I was complimenting you, Yalta. Oh, my God. Ah, there it is. Okay, I was ready to yell at this man for not having an orbital command. He did have an orbital... Or he didn't have an orbital command, but he did have a second gas. That's when your priorities are a little bit messed up. Now, Florencio, though, he is going to have to deal with an engineering bay that was finished in his natural. I'm pretty sure that Yalta probably intended on canceling that, but he was kind of caught in a little bit of action here, so I guess he didn't quite get to that point. The thing is, though, right now, I mean, yeah, did that rush really work? He's going to have to follow this up with something a little bit more exciting. There's a tech lab coming up. There's a starport coming up. Wouldn't mind seeing another command center here, actually, for the Terran player in just a second. Would actually love to see a Nexus here as well in a little bit. I think, actually, Florencio may have been looking at getting his natural up and running, but then he saw that there's an engineering bay. Most of the time, I think Florencio will take this base or maybe the one over here. Now, by the way, the reason why we don't see a command center is because Yalta has decided to build a barracks on the other side of the map as well. So he's like, you know what? If you want to cannon rush me, I know your production is going to be on this side of the map. I mean, I've seen the Zealot. I'll just go ahead and produce a barracks on your side. See how this goes for you. And literally just like one or two Reapers can absolutely spell a disaster right here inside of that main base. Speaking of new expansions, though, there is indeed that top right-hand base going up here for Florencio. This is something he does all the time. With the Cyclone available right now, though, this defense should become quite a bit easier. I mean, obviously, Cyclones, they are absolutely phenomenal. The thing is, these photon cannons still are really, really frustrating to deal with. A mule does eventually land. I would love to see him start shooting away right here at some of these photon cannons. I do think, though, that he should probably, Florencio that is, he should probably give up right here on this cannon rush. I mean, more Cyclones will be joining here as well. There's now also a Banshee coming up. I love that idea. Just simply sending the Banshee across the map. Go for the main base is a great suggestion. He's going for a couple of Reapers, so I think we are indeed on the same line of thought here. There's, however, already a Stargate coming up on the side of the Terran player right now, too. So we'll see what will end up going down in this game. This is certainly a Florencio start, though, and kind of the games where I do favor him, right? I mean, generally speaking, he's the one guy who's really playing these weird games pretty much all the time. So I think we can expect him to feel more comfortable in this kind of scenario. Regardless, though, here's that Reaper. Being a nuisance already. Forcing the recall on that Stalker and then already that Zealot, too. I think this Reaper will probably not live to tell the tale, but this does open up the opportunity right now for the Cyclones to move forward. The command center does come up. In the meantime, though, Nexus did finish in the top right-hand corner, and luckily here for Dexter, he did not chrono boost non-stop. I probably would have chrono boosted a lot more. I mean, it's technically a misplay to not chrono boost. As you can see, he's got a lot of energy here on that Nexus. I don't think this is necessarily intentional, but it happened to work out in his favor here regardless. Zealot now working on that engineering bay that was planted down on the low ground, and at this point we also have that Banshee going across. The cloaking field upgrade was researched. In the meantime, by the way, these two Cyclones have been working on some of those low ground structures. It looks like the photon cannons are gone. There's a Void Ray available, but I don't know if a Void Ray is a great choice right now against these Cyclones. Here's that Banshee. I mean, there's one Stalker, but cloaking field will finish up here very soon. Got a target fire, though. Oh, please don't target fire the ones in the gas. Oh, my God. Oh, so many wasted shots. No, 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 no. Just, Yalta. Yalta, you're Master League, dude. Oh, that hurts. That honestly hurts to watch, because he could have gotten, like, 7 more kills, it feels like. He's going to be able to clean up a couple of these probes, but I think he could have gotten up to 10 easily. I don't know why he's not, like, going after this either, because at this point, there is 0 detection available here for the Protoss player. In the meantime, though, the Cyclones apparently decided to YOLO down that ramp. Excuse me. The bunker's still very, very helpful. Yalta will have to take his expansion soon, or just simply venture out onto the map, right? Obviously, the command center can just simply fly on over to one of the other bases. That's no problem whatsoever. Banshee apparently feeling brave enough to go after the Nexus right now. I mean, he's got a couple of points of energy remaining, so that's nice. But I feel like this little push over here wasn't really achieving anything, and I feel like that Banshee could have done so much more. The thing is, though, I think that Yalta, like right now, or Yalta right now rather, he still lives under the assumption that there's only a single base here for the Protoss. He doesn't know about the fact that there's already another Nexus, also accumulating tons of energy, in the top right-hand corner of the map. I guess after working on the Nexus shields for a little bit right now, he's decided to retarget. Now he gets... Oh my god. It's a bit of a mess. Not gonna lie, Yalta. If I may be so critical, and I mean, even if I may not, I'm still gonna be critical. Yeah, this was not ideal. Do like the... Oh no, fly away, dude! Ah! Please! Okay. You know it's bad when Lowko starts sounding like a crow. I don't know what that noise was. What noise did I just make? I was very passionate about this whole situation, okay? I did something weird. I did something odd. I don't know. Anyways, double starport right now. Double orbital command as well. But Yalta, you really need to start looking at another base, my man. With 4 mules mining out these mineral patches, your main will be running low in just a minute or two. Gotta be fast. Gotta be fast with this CC. Now, I think he really desperately is set on trying to take his natural expansion. Honestly, like, I really feel like just like a siege tank or so would have done really nicely, right? Like, just something to keep shelling away at all of these Protoss structures. Like, Vikings, Cyclones, siege tanks, that kind of thing would be absolutely amazing. Banshee for the counterattack is nice. By the way, Martin the Marine right now found out about the base in the top right-hand corner. Apparently where his corpse lay. A photon cannon was at the very least planned to be put down. In the meantime, though, Florencio has started up a fleet beacon in the top right-hand corner. There's another Banshee right now inside of that main base too. Oh my god, there's so many wasted Banshee shots. It hurts. Target firing, guys. Target firing. Micro. I know. Maybe this guy should play Zerk. Don't need to micro when you play Zerk. Oh my god, micro god. I take it all back. I take it all back. The barracks apparently did produce a bunch of Marines. That means that the main base, I think, is pretty much as good as dead. Florencio could try and commit to, like, defending it, but then he's gonna have to give up either this low ground position or, you know, some of the defenses over at his newly acquired base. Plus, this Nexus, I mean, he's not using the Chrono Boost of it anyway. There's no purpose of it. Why is he not using Chrono Boost, by the way? Like, Tempest, believe it or not, they take about 7.5 years to produce. Carriers, give or take, about 15 years for each carrier. So, despite the Phoenix eventually coming home, I mean, this is, well, I say coming home, but I guess it came all the way from the Stargate on the other side of the map. Plus, I guess Protoss units never really, like... Do they get produced inside of the Stargate? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's being warped in right now, right? So it probably was constructed on a different planet entirely. Maybe it was born on a different... I don't know how it works. I need to learn more about the Protoss lore from reading some of the books. I've never actually really read a lot of the StarCraft books. I really want to get into that at some point. Anyways, main base right now of the Protoss player is gone. Terran did manage to get himself the hyperflight rotors, so these couple of Banshees are going to be real fast. With good target firing, they can definitely kill things despite all of these photon cannons. Oh my god, that's quite a lot of units actually. Not bad at all. Decides to apparently now land the Vikings. Throw down a couple of auto turrets as well. They're actually really strong. Almost capable of breaking through that. Yeah, no, he does get it. Photon cannon is what I was going to say before I got so rudely interrupted. Florencio, in the meantime, though, has decided to take another base. And speaking of new bases, finally, new expansions have been taken. Yalta, after about, I would say 8 minutes or so in this game, decided he cannot take control of his natural expansion. So instead, he's now transitioning towards taking some of the other bases. Really feel like he could have done so minutes earlier. Would have been really, really nice. Ooh, he's now feeling a little bit brave, though. Target firing down the Nexus itself. This does now trigger Dexter to send all of the units towards the top right-hand corner as well. And I feel like that may have been a little bit too aggressive. Usually in StarCraft, you want to go for the guaranteed damage. In this case, going after the probes would have been way better. I mean, I honestly feel like in this game, Yalta could have killed probably like 7 more. No, like 7. I mean, that first bench, he could have killed 7 more. 17. Let's leave it at 17. He probably could have killed like an additional 17 workers, okay? Now, I'm basing that off of nothing. But I think that's at the very least more reasonable than target firing down the actual base. The Banshee micro definitely could be improved upon. Now, speaking of things that couldn't be improved upon, though, I mean, other than the Chrono Boost, it's very obvious right now that Terran has likely been taking one of the nearby expansions, right? I really feel like it's pretty much a given. Now, obviously, these players are trying to handle about a million different things at once. It's kind of funny, though, like, considering this is a Master League match, right? Both players had a Master League border when the game was loading up. So it's probably, I would say, probably like Master 3 or so. Maybe Master 2, I'm not entirely sure. Oh my god. Well, that's one way to figure out about the expansion. But despite these guys probably being like 4.6, 4.7k MMR or so, if I were to make a guess, it's still such a difference compared to the pro level players, right? It's kind of crazy. Like, they seem to be very, very, very good and clean in execution when it comes to multitasking and all that in particular. It's very easy to get blindsided sometimes about how much of a skill difference there is, even between like Grandmaster League players and pro players. Either way, though, I like the idea of the Vikings. They can outrange the Void Race, but the Tempest obviously can outrange the Vikings very easily as well. And I feel like the main base is in a little bit of trouble right now for Yalta, to be honest. Once again, though, he can just lift the structures, and then we can go from there. So, while on paper, cannon rushing a Terran player, terrible idea. Would not recommend it. It's kind of been working out well so far. I think, though, one of the reasons why it's been working out well is the fact that Yalta really, really thought he was going to be able to take his natural expansion eventually. I really feel if he would have landed and, you know, just repositioned towards the left-hand side of the map instead, it would have been so much easier for him. There's no stim pack or whatever. I think that's maybe what he's trying to do right now by getting another tech lab. This makes 4 tech labs right now in the main base. Maybe a little bit ambitious. I think he may have wanted to start up the research there. Yeah, I'm starting to not really like this position too much for the Terran, though. Yeah, the main base... Ooh, that one Widow Mine was nice. Yeah, the main base, I mean, it's still up and running right now, but I kind of feel like it's on a timer. Well, I say that as the Vikings pick up a couple of units. That sentence would have been better 20 seconds ago. The caster curse. You can never make claims. It's always wrong. I think X is in a really good position right now. 2 seconds later, X is in a terrible spot. Happens all the time, guys. Happens all the time. Vikings, though. Yeah, they deal bonus to mechanical. So, here's the thing. Well, Vikings technically are flying units, right? They can also be great when it comes to, well, just hitting things on the ground. With prismatic alignment on, these Void Rays are going to have to retreat significantly slower. Has this Nexus, by the way, been scouted? Yeah, Yalta does know about that Nexus. I would have loved to see one of those Banshees right now move into that location, right? Imagine if he didn't YOLO them into a Photon Cannon or, you know, just gave them up in general by getting chased down by an Oracle and a Phoenix. I mean, there were many moments where he could have kept those alive, and I really feel like that would have made the game so much easier. Either way, though, apparently the command center decided to go back into the main base. The one right next to the main, though, has not been scouted yet. So Dexter at this point probably living under the assumption that this is, for all intents and purposes, a one-base Terran that's mining out. In the meantime, though, come on, Vikings! Vent the Likings! Vent the Likings! Lent the Vikings! Vent the like... I misspoke once upon a time. where I was shouting at someone to lend the Vikings. And instead I was shouting vent the Likings. Not my brightest moment. Either way, though, I think he could have once again killed a lot of workers. So, honestly, like, okay, here's the thing. This position that Dexter is in right now, the position that Florencio is finding himself in, is actually pretty good. But I feel like that's not primarily because of the strategy that he's chosen to play, but because of misplays of his opponent. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like these Banshees, I know I'm really hammering on the Banshees, but I could have gotten so much more kills. And then, like, same for these Vikings just now. They could have killed the entire mineral line by the time that the recall finished. Once again, right now, though, the Stalkers are leaving. Recall is on cooldown. My man! Hello, Yalta! Wakey, wakey! You're starting to trigger me, my man. First off with that orbital command, and then with the Banshees, and now you're doing the same thing with the Vikings. A lot of Marines are being produced, but Marines without Stimpack, without Medivac support, not that helpful. I mean, there's one Medivac right now, so I guess one Marine can be healed, but yeah, you really need that Stimpack upgrade. You really need to get yourself as many of the engineering bay upgrades as well. Stalkers certainly do shine in these smaller battles, especially when Blink is coming up, actually. I don't really mind the position all too much. Still a couple of Tempests over here. This is a crazy game, by the way. Finally, the Vikings have decided to get back into the battle. But once again, Yalta... Okay, here we go. He keeps on going for the big price. You know what I mean? I really want to emphasize that in StarCraft 2, you want to aim for guaranteed damage pretty much all the time. If you know you can kill the Nexus, then it's great. But if your goal is like crossing your fingers and hoping your opponent is either too slow or too stupid to respond, it's usually not a good style. Like, you really want to go for guaranteed damage. And, well, I mean, probes have significantly less health than a Nexus, right? Like, it's so important. It's really, really critical. Honestly, with that change alone, I feel like Yalta would be probably like 500 MMR higher. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's very much so a mindset and very much so a strategic error. You really need to focus on guaranteed damage rather than trying to go for the kill. Right now, though, because of everything that's been going on, the main base of the Terran player is overrun. He's gonna have to reposition himself towards the left-hand side. That does mean that those tech labs, all 4 of them, will probably be picked off. I think that the supply depots will probably also be picked off, which is rather annoying. Maybe even this command center. New CCs, though, have been acquired. There's another orbital command going up in the bottom left-hand corner, which is great. Oh, and it looks like he will actually be able to save this orbital. So, despite him losing a bunch of workers and all that as well, this is not really the worst situation to be in, because he can still just land those mules, right? Mules, absolutely incredible. Not so good at repairing, though. Wouldn't recommend using a mule for repairs, but fair enough. It's better than losing the CC. So what exactly is the plan going to be right now for Florencio? He's got himself a good amount of Stalkers, but Stalkers, they fall off as time goes by. You really need Colossi support against large amounts of bio if you want to force, you know, the Stalker army. It looks like instead he's going to go for the Templar Archives, so probably aiming for Storms. I don't like the idea of going for Storms as much because you can micro against Storms far more easily. He does have Blink now done, though. So, oh my god. No, don't tell, oh god, no. Don't tell me the base is gonna, oh god. Oh my god. No! What? No, that's even worse! What? No! Oh my god, no! I've seen like so many almost dead command centers this game, it hurts. Stimpack is done though. And these Stalkers, I mean, they're not gonna be able to go very many places. I mean, they can blink into the Terran Bioforce right now. They can try and run away. There's no concussive shells, so at the very least, that's going to make it a little bit easier. Maybe 1 or 2 will be able to survive, but I've got a feeling none will live to tell the tale. That one probe apparently also hanging out in a weird spot. 2 more Stalkers coming in from the top right-hand corner, I believe, and they're going to try and go for some guaranteed damage. I like that. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things right now, despite Florencio being very significantly ahead just a little bit ago, and despite the Terran player literally stemming everything to catch 2 Stalkers, he's finding himself, the Terran that is, in a really good spot. I mean, how many command centers are we talking right now? We have 4 orbital commands. We have a good amount of production. We have Stimpack done. It's Marine Marauder Medivac. It's as basic as the Terran armies become, and maybe he's going to have to lift up this base and get into a different position because of those Tempests being a pain in the butt. But I'm liking this position more and more right now for the Terran. Despite him having half the amount of workers, he's obviously got those mules, right? And those yellow mining machines, I mean, they give you an incredible amount of income. Look at this. Despite him really not having a lot of workers, he can produce a lot of Marines. Marines, I mean, believe it or not, they're pretty great. So, I feel like this will probably be mostly coming down to the storms. So, High Templar with Sonic Storm, absolutely amazing against clumped up units. Marines have the tendency to be clumped up. My god, he keeps... Oh my god. Okay, well, cringe moment number 79 in this game. He just stimped the Marauders to try and kill Tempests. He just stimped Marauders to try and kill Tempests. I would say that's not really a Master League move, but hey, what do I know? I guess he must have panicked or maybe hit like the old army hotkey or something like that to get all of the things going. Now, while the Tempests are gonna get free reign here for a little bit as the Terran's moving across the map, I don't see exactly what Terran's gonna do against this big force. I mean, assuming a little bit of micro. If the Banshees were anything to go off of previously, that micro is gonna be a tough call, but I really do think that this Terran army is capable of killing that of the Protoss. It comes down to dodging the storms, though. Dodging the storms is absolutely critical. By the way, in the meantime, the main base is being retaken right now in the top left-hand corner. The Banshees, or rather the Tempests, are still going to town. Probes apparently trying to find asylum in the bottom left-hand corner. I've got a feeling they're not going to be granted, although, yeah, sure. Oh my god, he's gonna attack move on the SCVs instead. Marines, come on, buddies. Nah, he's not using the old army hotkey anymore. Maybe would have been an okay move here, but I think that these probes are gonna have a hard time making their way home. What this does create, though, is the opportunity right now for the Protoss player to get into a better position with his army. The High Templar are a little bit slower than the Stalker, so they're gonna have to move in as well. But it comes down to the storms here, guys. The storms are absolutely gonna be critical. He keeps on stimming, trying to get himself... Oh my god, the Marauders to shoot those Tempests out of the sky. Storm number 1, storm number 2. Ooh, decent dodges, but there's gonna be a lot more where that came from. Oh, well, oh my god. That's a lot of High Templar, by the way. And these... Oh, please box the units. Oh. So what you do as a Terran, you try and, like, box units. You don't use a control group anymore. You gotta, like, box things to try and move them around and get them into a better spot. Couple of the High Templar in the back shooting water balloons at those at those Terran structures. Did you know that High Templar basic attack is them just throwing water balloons? Yo, can you guys show us some of the water balloons that you throw? It doesn't deal a lot of damage, okay? Come on, I want to show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. They look pretty cool though, doing it. But it deals literally no damage. Well, not literally. I think it deals like 1 damage, which is the minimum of damage StarCraft 2 units can deal. But they added that way back as like a an anti-noob kind of measure, because a lot of the times we saw the High Templar wandering forward and accidentally killing themselves. The little auto attack prevents them from doing so. I'm still of the opinion they should give like similar things to, say, for example, I don't know, infestors or something. You know what I mean? Would be pretty good. Anyways, in the meantime, the Terran army apparently has made its way to the top right-hand corner. This base, though, mined out. Protoss still set up in the bottom left-hand corner. And, well, despite me feeling that the Terran player was pretty far ahead here, he's not been able to macro very much because he lost all of his production. And he also... Oh, nice little bit of blinking there. He also has not been microing very well against those High Templar. So the High Templar are dealing so much damage right now to the Terran army that... Yeah, he was making a bit of a desperation move. I don't think he's feeling confident in his micro. And at this point, I mean, Terran is starting to be in a massive world of trouble. He's taking the, I guess, third base of his opponent, who's now re-expanded towards the old main base. I guess that's the least likely location to be scouting. And interestingly enough, he's now also gonna mine the natural here of that Protoss player. I don't know if it's his natural or his opponent's natural. It's a little bit confusing, but at the very least, the natural will be mined. Recall, though, has been forced, so I think, indeed, that the Protoss is going to reposition over here, as he probably felt like he was in a bit of a rough spot there. Truth be told, he probably could have continued pushing. He knows that his opponent has got a lot of units, though, and he knows that his opponent has got a lot of resources, too. If he can spend his money here, the Protoss, or the Terran, that is, he's going to be in a phenomenal spot. Apparently, he's decided that he wants to counter those High Templar by going for Ghosts. I don't mind that position whatsoever. Marauders, Marines, Ghosts, Medivacs. Pretty good idea. Mules, in the meantime, though, are mining the natural. And at this point, I mean, Yalta must have like a light going off in his head. Yeah, he does scan the main base as well to confirm. He's now he's now aware of the fact that his opponent has retaken the old main base. Once again, of course, target firing down the orbital command because that's what he does. Nobody knows why. Don't ask him any questions, but he did manage to get the kill this time around because Terran has not really been macroing very much. He's also supply blocked at this point. Starts up another command center because really command centers are just big supply depots. And he's probably... Oh my... Please make a couple of depots. Hey, Yalta. Hey. Yalta. There you go. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. It's a little bit late, but... Very rude, by the way. Did you see that? Those two SCVs there blocking the third one from even starting up the depot? I think we've arrived at a bit of a lull in the game because Yalta's not going to make a move anymore. In the meantime, by the way, the natural of the Terran player has finally been acquired as well. I think this is actually a base he could have taken a long time ago, considering he still had all of the static defense over here. Terran wasn't going to head in this direction anytime soon. This is basically a free pickup right now for Dexter, so he's going to be able to start mining his opponent's natural here, which is nice. He's got a lot of probes. Maybe recall a couple of those to the other side of the map. Use your Protoss magic, although recall actually seems to be on cooldown still. It's a pretty long cooldown actually. Anyways, a couple additional command centers are being acquired. Supply depots finally finished up, and Yalta has been able to spend his money once again. Decides to go back to Banshees. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like Banshees are a bit of a... Yeah, there you go, by the way. Recall. Once again available. I'm pretty sure I've seen more recalls this game, by the way, than, like, chrono boosts. Which is not good. Oh my god. Ooh! You gotta have to hit the EMP, my man. Oh, I think he could have. He could have scanned a little bit sooner. Ooh, he's trying so hard. Hey, there you go. Gets rid of some of that energy. But oh my god, man. This is some of the worst micro I've seen, though. I guess most of the High Templar are without energy, but not all of them. Oh my god, Yalta! Yalta, that hurts! Oh, Yalta is panicking, guys. I think his heartbeat has been at 200 plus for the majority of the game. He's starting to feel the hurt of, like, being in such a hectic match. And that's exactly what Florencio was aiming for. Oh. First off, those ghosts forcing their way up the ramp, sacrificing their life for the Terran Dominion. Then him crossing his fingers, hoping he get all of the High Templar. A little bit rough. Now, there's no detection over here. So, can we see some target firing down on the probes this time? Nice. Oh, no. If you start moving, he's going to definitely attack the Nexus again. In the meantime, more storms are being utilized. Yalta, you're in a little bit of trouble, my man. You're getting absolutely murdered by the Templar. This is, by the way, a crazy game. I mean, I'm sure you've realized that, but, like, there's Tempest production still in the natural of the old Terran, where the Terran player is now microing our units over at the third base of the Protoss. Protoss lost the main base previously, now retaking it. Now, Cloaking Field did run out. Oh my god. No! Just stop sacrificing the... Ah, please, thanks. It only got 5 kills? Oh, it was working on the Nexus again. Surprise. How did you only get 5 kills? Like, I feel like you had to try to get less kills than 5. How did that happen? I wasn't paying attention to it because you were doing pretty good initially, but... You were completely left alone. You had like 100 energy. You could do whatever you wanted for like 90 seconds or so. And, okay. Nice little bit of micro once again. High Templar. I mean, I told you earlier, right? They are so lethal at this level of play. It's absolutely ridiculous. Stalkers, though, getting awfully close to the mineral line of his own third base. I guess he probably was planning... Ooh, nice little bit of micro again. I think he probably was planning on storming those SCVs as well. But those storms, man. The storms are too lethal. I loved the idea of going up towards, you know, the ghosts. I thought it was very good, but I have no idea why he decided to, like, headbutt his way through the choke point on the ramp to like, the main... What was the point of that? I really don't know. Like, if he would have fought in a spot right over here, or, like, literally any location where he had a little bit of service area, I think he would have been in a really good spot. Right now, though, I mean, that did not work out for the Terran player whatsoever. Once again, though, recall being used... Where is it going this time? Oh, back to the main. Okay. Well, I don't know if this is the main or this is the main or... I don't know. Is the Mind Out base the main? He's gonna go for a robo. So, finally he decides to go for what seems to be a more permanent answer to those Banshees, rather than just using photon cannons for detection and that one Oracle that we saw earlier. Going for Observers, not a bad idea whatsoever. But I'm looking at this Terran player, and yeah, I think the sad moment is coming on us, guys. He's been fighting valiantly. I'm sure there will be many people in the comment section that will be saying something along the lines, "Oh my god, this is a Master League?" But that's what you sound like, by the way, when you type that. "Oh my god, this is Master League? I can't believe it." I'm in Gold League and I'm way better than these guys. No, you're not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm just being honest with you, okay? I'm just being very Dutch. I've heard that we are very direct people here in the Netherlands. Yeah, no, these guys definitely are Master League, but it's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate that Yalta decided to make that call to force his way into the main base. Once again, now as a Banshee, so it's gonna deal a little bit of damage, but this is the last command center. There's a barracks on the production tab at the 30-minute mark, and I think that may very well be... No, there's actually one more. There's one more. Okay, I was gonna say, that may be very well the last one in this game. Not the case, though. There's one that's already finished, but I've got a feeling that Dexter, also known as Florencio, is going to be able to obtain the victory. He does have one hero Banshee, target firing down those High Templar. I like that. I like that a lot. It's just that he's got no standing army. Storm obviously does hit units despite them being, well, being cloaked. It doesn't really matter all too much. Banshee in the main base right now got 16 kills. So Yalta started making the last... Like, he started making all the right moves at the last couple of minutes, but... should have not stemmed up that ramp, should have target fired those workers a little bit more aggressively, and should have decided to expand away from the natural expansion significantly sooner. And if that all happened, I feel like he would have been in an absolutely phenomenal position. GG was called. Florencio obtains the victory in a crazy game once again. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you have an awesome game of StarCraft that you recently played yourself as well, and you also want me to cast it, plus make fun of you, you can submit it to replays at LowkoTV, so maybe I will go ahead and cast your game here in the future. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. Also, a special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all of your generosity. But for now, have an amazing rest of your day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I'll see you once again in the next one.